I can now kind of do this improv.
I'm looking at you right there.
Yep. Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Al. Yeah, it's just me, and it's our new show that we're turning into an entire network here at New Life Lutheran. It is called Here I Stand Up, and basically you're going, how exactly does that work into faith and God and Jesus and everything that we are a part of a church? Well, one of my best things that I think God has given us as people is the ability to have great memory, to have talk great stories, things that have actually happened to us and that I truly believe God has put into his plan and has provided for just a super gratitude that I have that God has put me in these situations. How do I come up with Here I Stand Up? You all know, everybody knows that even as Protestant, even our Catholic friends, our other friends, know there was a guy named Martin Luther, and that we emphasize, because we're called Lutherans, who made a stance against, not against, but of grievances that he had with the church, and those was on his stance, and he said, "Here I stand, God help me." Well, for the last now 33 years, I have been a full-time stand-up comedian, and so we kind of changed it. I'm sitting today only because I have a little knee problem, but it's Here I Stand Up, and it is going to just be some great stories that God has, really I just can't thank him enough for these great memories that I have, and they do have a very humorous twist to them. So, where are we going to start? We're going to start at the very beginning. We're going to start with a chubby kid who rode his bike from Alta Vista School in the fall of, oh my goodness, I don't even want to go back that far, probably 1973, 74, to what was in Sarasota, Florida, called Arthur Allen Field, which is now called Ed Smith Stadium, which is where the Baltimore Orioles trained. At the time, the Chicago White Sox had their entire minor league operation, headquarters, and facility in Sarasota, Florida, at these fields. I have, as everyone who might know me knows, a deep-seated love for baseball, where I say baseball is a way of life. The rest of the things I'm interested in are just games. And it's just because I grew up around it. And I went to my first Chicago White Sox spring training game, which would have been 1969. And the reason I know that is because we were playing the New York Mets in spring training, and that was the year that the amazing Mets won the World Series that year in 1969. So, with all that aside, what does this have to do with it? Well, there was no security. There was none of all the things that you see nowadays. And this chubby little kid on his Schwinn bicycle could ride after school. Why would you ride to a field in October of Arthur Allen Field? That's because the Winter Instructional League was going on there. And I had decided that I was going to be the Batboy for the team of the White Sox during the Winter Instructional League. Their game started late in the afternoons. At the time, our school was running, believe it or not, we were running hours from 7:30 to 1:30 at school. We were done with school by 1:30, and therefore, most of those games, I could ride my little bike over from Alta Vista, and I could be there mostly by the second inning. And as opposed to asking anybody, I just had my White Sox shirt on and my hat, and I walked on to this field through an open gate, and I started being the Bat Boy. And in fact, some of the players went, "Hey, who's the fat kid?" "Oh, he's the Bat Boy." Well, suddenly, he got a nickname, and that's why I wore my jersey today, and I'll turn it around so maybe we can get a shot of it. It says groceries on the back of it. And, yep, that was my nickname, was groceries. And I was number 61 when they finally gave me an actual jersey to use. And why do I tell you all this at the very beginning? It is because from that, the executives from Chicago would always come down, which I would think would be just to be an excuse to to be in the warm weather and the sunshine, but they would come down to watch their minor league players play and see what was going on. When we did that, they saw me. I ran errands. I did all the things that Batboys do, and suddenly the manager of the big league team, Chuck Tanner, asked me, "Hey, Groceries, do you want to be the big league Batboy during spring training?" You know, of course, I'd want to do that. And the next thing you know, I had a major league uniform. Was on the field at what now you guys think of tennis courts and park. Payne Park in Sarasota was a actual baseball stadium back then. I did that for one season, and the next season continued to be in. And they said to me, "Al, if you're ever in Chicago during the regular major league season, you can be the bat boy in the big leagues." I convinced my mom to let me go, and one of the players was really had taken me under his wing. His name was Terry Forrester. He was a relief pitcher for the White Sox, and he said, "Groceries, you can just come stay with us, and I'll drive you to the field because I got to go to play ball." And the next thing you know, come June when school got out, I was in Chicago, and standing you don't want to tell anything in your life that makes somebody wonder, but one of the great moments, do you really think that you peaked as a human being when you were 13 or 14 years old, but you're standing on a major league field with thousands of people in the stands with a big league uniform on, and I didn't care if I was the bat boy or if I would have been the starting left fielder. And this was the historic Kaminsky Park where you had Shoeless Joe Jackson, all the things that I grew up reading about and knowing just because of my love of the game. So what's the funny part? That's the heartwarming. The funny part was we were on a Saturday afternoon baseball game of the week, and for those of you that go way back, you couldn't get baseball 7 days a week like you do now. You had one game Saturday on NBC with Tony Kubek and Kurt Gowdy, and we were playing the Milwaukee Brewers. Never forget this as long as I live. The catcher for the Milwaukee Brewers was named Darryl Porter, and he was a nice man, and you'd be amazed at those of you that watch some of these baseball movies and wonder, do they really have these weird conversations out there? Well, the answer is yes. And Darryl would always say something to me because he was the catcher, and I'd run out to get the bat, and he was just this very nice man, and he was a great catcher. We were taught to go halfway to the home plate area before we went out to get the bat to make sure that the play was over. Of course, being a chubby kid, I had to get some momentum going because you were always jogging. And when you jogged, I kind of waddled, and I waddled out there during a play where one of the White Sox runners was rounding third and getting ready to score, and Porter had the bat right in front of him, and really not realizing it, he took the bat and threw it to get it out of the way, and he threw it in a helicopter rotor blade style of it. Well, I was still running, and I had this bat coming at me a million miles. I can remember seeing Pete Rose slide head first. Well, Groceries took a header, and he slid straight into the area where the play was going on, and belly first, the White Sox player scored, and there was Groceries. And I was scoring at home plate, and the guys were with the play, but they were cracking up because here was this kid, diving into home plate trying to avoid the bat, and the umpire signaled safe for the White Sox player, and then he looked at me and went safe, and yep, I made infamy because when they went to the next inning, they always would show a replay of a slow motion something, and it was the slow motion of Groceries taking a dive into home plate during a regular Major League Baseball game and my entrance into national television. Now, I have many more of these Bat Boy stories that I'll be sharing with you along the way. I just want to brighten your day a little bit because that is the fun part and the great memories that God gives us. And I challenge you as we wrap this up, to remember your great memories, what your great memories are. How did we have some fun, and how can we say that we peaked in our lives when we were 13 years old because we did something silly, something weird happened, whatever. I stand up to that moment in my life as I live it, and I thank God each and every day that I still have that memory, and somewhere packed away in a box we'll dig it out at one point is the number 61 for the Chicago White Sox. You always wonder why you see 61 in groceries around my algorithms, and that is because it is there. Folks, that's Here I Stand Up. We will see you next week and continue to watch our New Life Lutheran Church Network as whatever signal, and we will have a logo because, yep, I'm still writing on the whiteboard, unlike the other fancy shows that we have now that actually have logos. We're going to come up with something good. But until then, see you.